need a high-end designer or a lot of money to get a luxe look. Be your own interior designer.
This is Affordable Interior Design, the podcast.
Here's your host, Betsy Helmuth.
Next question comes from Kay, and she is writing from Dallas, Texas. She writes, "Hi there. Thank you so much for your show. I just love it. I am a new first-time homeowner, and I have a large open space in my kitchen that I am not sure what to do with. My style phrase is Cozy Boho. Sophisticated is, of course, implied. They're about 60 to 100 inches from the wall to the angled peninsula counter. The distance varies as you go along the angle, but they're about 100 inches from the counter to the back door. The windowsill is about 12 inches deep, but I do not want a window seat. I like to incorporate plants. I was thinking maybe I could put a small two-person round table. I also have separate dining space and a separate space for 3 bar stools at the peninsula. I could also do a bar cart. I could also leave it open and just put no furniture there. I plan to put bamboo woven shades on the window and maybe also hang sheer-ish white linen drapes. I am open to other ideas. Please let me know your thoughts." All right, Kay, let's get into it. First things first, I completely agree with you. So many people, when they have a deeper windowsill, want to turn it into some kind of seating, right? They want to turn it into a window box where they'll put some pillows, where they'll read that book I referenced that earlier, or that Kindle, where they will have a custom cushion created. And my answer to that is no, no. The reason is because it would have to be more comfortable than sitting on the other furniture in the room. Why would I sit inside this window that's only 12 inches deep? Typically, a seat is 18 inches deep. So my booty is not even going to fit on here comfortably. Also, I'm going to be pressed up against the blinds or pressed up against the glass. I'm going to smudge the glass. I mean, it just doesn't make sense in most people's spaces, even if their window box is deeper, even if you do have the full 18 inches, like I have on my 2 bay windows downstairs in my living room. It just does not make sense. Nobody's going to sit there when you have the beautiful couch, the beautiful armchair, the day bed right there. So lots of my clients come to me with that dream, and the only person who winds up sitting there is the cat, right? The cat is the only one who enjoys that amazing custom cushion that they had made. Now, it's hard for me to tell you exactly what to do because I love to use my floor plan software. I love to check my math. I always subtract for baseboards, right? It can be deceptive, and I don't want to assure you that something will work when there's math involved, especially because you mentioned the distance from the peninsula, you mentioned the angled wall, but I don't remember you referencing this door outside. You need to accommodate the door swing. So, the important things to keep in mind when you're trying to decide, do I put a table? Do I put a plant stand? What actually fits here? You want to think about the measurements of the piece. So, we know that a small table, if it's going to fit one person, needs to be at least 18 to 24 inches, round or square. So, if we know that that's the case, and I am saying at least, we need at least 30 to 36 inches to push out our chair without hitting something, right? So already we've got some math going. And then we're walking around this peninsula. So we need a walkway that's completely clear by 30 to 36 inches as well, right? So we know that we wouldn't want a walkway. And then if you only have 60 some inches there, and then a table that has a chair coming out, because that violates our principles right there. So you want to do that math. You want to take those numbers you already know, the size of the table, the amount of room you need to pull out a chair or a bar or counter stool, because I know those are involved as well. What are some other measurements we need to keep in mind? Well, for this particular instance, it's really just about the walkway and the pushback, but also you want to keep in mind the door swing, right? So whatever the door's width is the amount of space it's going to need to swing into the space, and it's going to need to be unencumbered if somebody, pushes out their chair after having their breakfast cereal and forgets to push it back in. This door is going to hit that chair. We want to be very mindful. And personally, just eyeballing this situation, I think the plants are the best way to go. Now, you could do a real plant stand because I don't love anything in a windowsill. Sometimes it just looks like tchotchkes or junk, right? It could tend to look very cluttered and we lose that sophisticated word. But a really beautiful sculptural plant stand would be fascinating here, especially if you can keep your plants alive. More power to you. And I think that it would also really break up all this cool color because right now the tile is like a gray. The walls appear to be like a bluish gray. The backsplash is like kind of a marble herringbone, it appears. Then the cabinets are a darker gray. We need to warm up this space. And green, while not purely a warm color like red or yellow or orange, does have yellow in it. So it is a warm type color in terms of bringing a little balance to the color palette here. And also, it'll be so nice in this land of rectangles. Everything in these pictures has rectangles, rectangles, linear lines with the blinds, etc. We need to bring in some curves. We need to bring in some organic shapes. And I think plants and their leaves and their vines would do just that. So that's my 2 cents there. I hope it was helpful for you, Kay. A big thank you to Aton and the Embassy who wrote our theme song. A shout out to Catherine Heller who owns the podcast shop and is our editor extraordinaire. We also want to thank Ginny Sunasan and her team at the Savvy Podcast Agency for their help with our social, our YouTube channel, and so much more. We also want to thank Uploft, which is our parent company who supports this podcast. And lastly, we owe a huge debt of gratitude to you. Thank you so much for tuning in and for all your support.